I see, I'm stupid. T50 and T18. I didn't see that. And
For the
counter,
two,
yeah,
T50 and T50.
so there's my money for my doors. Just T.
Oh. Didn't even start. At DPW,
I got
at
it.
DPW.
Jane, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, no.
Ready when you are.
Okay, we will begin our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, any changes, additions, or deletions to the agenda?
No.
Okay. Our meeting minutes of April 13th, 2026, it should be on the agenda.
A second.
I'll abstain. I wasn't here. Oh, you don't have to be present for approvals, but just for the record. Okay, but I'll note as much.
So we have moved and seconded, right?
Yep.
All right, all in favor?
Hi.
Okay. Well, either way, whatever, we
Can't stop myself.
know that you at least read them.
Yeah, that's the idea.
And you probably watched it, and you
I
probably
didn't
saw
watch
it.
it. I was away.
So.
As
Okay,
long as you read and make sense. Yes, they
do.
You can definitely comment on
They always make sense, Karen.
them.
abstract number 20 dated today in the amount of Karen has.
In the amount of $174,046.34. Says like the health insurance payments that usually was what makes it higher at the end of the month.
Boom.
Okay.
The second, they've been reviewed.
Yes.
There,
Oh.
And has reviewed them.
there's a bill in there that I don't know how we're gonna pay for it.
The radon,
Really?
it'll probably be under the contingency fund.
Okay,
Cause it get
thank you.
All in
It
favor?
can't be reimbursed. This is for the.
I understand.
for the Senior center for the boiler.
But you and I
Yeah.
talked about.
Right, so that's why I was surprised you didn't bring it up, because I gave you that answer and you said you wanted it noted as such. So, yes, it was not something that
So
we
moved.
accounted for, but needed to be done, so we have the village reserves for.
And I appreciate them saying.
Everybody knows what's going on with the radon at the senior center. As far
No,
as
There's
the,
no radon there.
Not anymore, the result.
in order to get the grant to do the boiler
Here's my house.
repair, we had to
That's why. I
fix the
won't put it
radon
on.
problem before they would give us that money. So we
They
went
did.
ahead and took the lowest bidder
How many
to fix
meters?
that problem. That's what's in this budget too, so if
Okay.
anybody has questions.
All last week and
We got-
today, they were
we got
supposed to,
you would
get
test.
the retest results, which I haven't heard from them. And then with that, we can move forward as far as the county's concerned.
I sort of,
Then we'll have to get quotes, I think, right? Is that where it left off for the
Yeah.
boiler? We'll have to get quotes for it.
I sort of commend them for doing that. Telling us we have,
So we'll vote.
I'm not saying I agree.
Okay.
Yes,
All in favor?
I move. I'm sorry.
Okay. We were told that every so often the county looks at those types of things or wants like a test like that. Not every time we've made an application for the senior center in the past, but every so many years they like to look at that stuff, which is probably just a good idea in general. Practice or whatever. Okay. Our departments, our fire chief is away on a well-needed vacation.
And he had no report to provide. There were no applications.
I was surprised to see,
Yeah.
I emailed from him this morning.
Oh, did He can't help himself.
Yeah.
No, I got his report this morning as well.
Yeah, I know, well, I mean, we all get it, I think, every.
I talked to
He
him.
can't stop himself.
I talked to him and he said when,
The weekly report.
he said, when you have the meeting, I'll be sleeping.
Okay, well, that's good, he's enjoying some golf. DPW, we have our memo here, so. First thing would be a motion to authorize the superintendent to attend the highway school. It's like a college June 1st to 3rd with a registration cost of $175. I don't know if he's not driving back and forth, I don't know if he's.
No, he
staying
figures
there.
because it's out of it, it's not gonna, either staying overnight
he might.
See it up and
Right.
back and forth.
Oh, okay.
So
So moved.
it's the cost of the
So
registration.
moved.
All right.
Second,
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
All right,
Surplus equipment, so we had already voted to surplus these three vehicles. They've been out for auction, and as he told us at the last meeting, the bids would be back for this meeting. So upon his recommendation, I would take a motion to accept the bid for the T50 grapple loader for $30,500 and the T18 plow dump truck for $17,900.
so moved.
Second,
could we do those individually?
Sure.
What are we-
Okay,
Okay,
all right,
So we'll do the T50 grapple loader truck first,
so moved.
$30,500. All in favor?
All right,
We'll do the T18 plow dump truck for $17,900.
so moved.
second.
All in
Aye.
favor?
All right,
And then Tyler, the superintendent, is recommending that we counter the last bid for the refuse packer, which was only came in at $7,600. For a counter offering of a minimum of $15,000. And if the counter is declined, that we would relist this again in another auction, upcoming auction.
So he thinks it's at worth at least 15.
He feels that way. That he also had indicated to me anyway, somewhere as I saw this, that he thought that those particular types of trucks do not sell for their retail value like they should, or resale value, I should say, not retail, but resale value like they should. So he felt that it would be better to hold it and perhaps try it again. We might get the same or similar bid, but rather than just, we start out with this counter offer, say, okay, you want it, but we want $15,000 and see what they come back with. Maybe, I don't know how many times we counter, because this is kind of different to me, this auction on how it's working or whatever.
Or through other municipalities and even the auction site, this particular type of vehicle doesn't seem to have the interest, especially now, as some of the other vehicles would. Then one of the suggestions, it could be because a lot of municipalities aren't necessarily doing their own refuge. So there's not always this drive and need for it.
Yeah.
He thinks after June 1st that we try again, that'll give you a better indicator if there's somebody in the market for it, and then you can decide to do next.
yeah, my conversation with Tyler this morning basically was in fact just that. He wasn't particularly pleased with the pricing. He thought we could do better in another month because we need to get into the next budget year for most municipalities. This is for them to actually spend what should be spent on this and create some competition for them.
Okay. So do we want to make a motion to make a counter offer for $15,000 and see where that goes, or? And
So
then
moved.
see what happens?
Second.
Okay, move in second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
All right,
Okay. Canal landing bathroom. So in the fall, they take out the water, turn the water off. Evidently must remove the meter because they said that the meter's been reinstalled. And so they put the aqua came, turn the water on, put the meter back in place, whatever they have to do for all of that. And they found that some of the automatic flushing of the toilets and the sink that turns on when you put your hands, wave your hands underneath it, needed to be updated with some parts. So I believe that they're on order or will be done soon, like this week or like next week or
Tuesday,
something.
so they
Tuesday.
be open this weekend. He found somebody that can do the repair on Tuesday, at least for the toilets that they're gonna be manual flush. Because the parts are difficult to find and are a problem to maintain, and he had more than one recommendation to just not bother putting that style in at all.
Just
Bypass
back up
it,
flush
manual,
toilets,
yeah.
yeah. So anyways, that's where we are in case people question us about, because it's getting to be nicer days. More people are probably down there
Yeah.
using the park and wanting to use the bathrooms. Do Good Dog Park was opened. There was a tree that fell on the fence. We have contacted the insurance company in regards to that, so we're working our way through that, but the fence has been repaired in the meantime. And the park cleaned up and open for use. So I've been by a few times on these days. I haven't seen anybody using it just yet, but I'm sure they are when I'm not going by there. So, just in general. Anything else for DPW? Next on the agenda is our village budget, so. Didn't prepare anything too elaborate, but. Yeah. A full sheet or a sheet here. And being overrun with village residents, but it'll be online, so. Tonight is the night that we would approve our village budget that we have worked on. We've had 4 or 5 workshop meetings in regards to the budget. We've worked with our accountants, we have worked with our department heads, and we have worked with each other to come up with a budget that is workable and viable for this coming year, 26 to 27. Our fiscal year starts June 1st and goes through May 31st. And this budget reflects a lot of hard work, especially on our department heads, as we've requested them not to increase their expenses on purchases or equipment, other than absolutely necessary. Our budget does include increases for payroll as per the contracts for our DPW and our fire and EMS employees, and also a increase in salaries for our non-union employees. Some decreased expenditures within this budget come from the different areas of the budget. The superintendent of highways decreased, celebrations and other performing arts decreased, renewable fat bill decreased. The trees that are cared for by the DPW out of their budget was decreased. The tree commission budget was decreased, and our debt service went down. Increased expenditures in general were public works, snow removal, street lighting, our clerk treasurer's office, parks commission, municipal building, Wortley Way, employee benefits and insurance, property and liability types of insurance. Some of those areas that increased are for repairs and updates to village properties, such as the Wortley Way, the municipal building. I believe the senior center building account went up also because of repairs that are needed at that location. This budget reflects a tax rate. I should say that the budget itself is for 9,187,000. Well, for the general fund of this budget, the budget is $9,177,102. Estimated revenues is $5,147,745. Unexpended fund balance is $221,500. And the amount to be raised by tax is $807,856. With this budget, it will result in a tax rate increase to $6.77 per thousand from the current year that we are finishing, which was $6.60 per thousand. This is an increase of 2.58%. Historically, well, if you look just below on your sheet where I have the tax rates, in 2021, if your home was assessed for $300,000, your taxes would have been $2,160. Coming into this year's budget for 26-27, that same $300,000 home would have a taxable rate of $677, and that bill would be $2,031. So as we know, in 5 years, your assessments have increased, and so you can't make just a level playing field, but the village does not have any responsibility or control over what an assessed property value goes to. If you look more closely at the 25, the current budget year to this coming budget year, you would see that there is a increase in that same, if you use the $300,000 as an example of an assessed valued property, the taxable increase with the new tax rate would add $51 to your tax bill this next year. or $4.25 a month. If you were to look at the, again, a $300,000 assessed valued home, the cost for all village services on a monthly basis is just under $170 a month. So that is including all of your fire and EMS services, all your DPW services, all of our parks, all of our commissions, all of our committees, all of our boards, all of the things that we provide to residents at cost of. And that's an example of a $300,000 house. I don't have like a mean of a house to know. I thought 100 is too low. It used to be 100,000 we talked about. 200,000 was what the accountant came up with. I figured 300,000 might be on the high side, but at least that gives people an idea where you're at. If you look at assessments and what they've gone to, as I've looked through some of the different village properties, for residents, $300,000 doesn't seem too far out of line. If you look in a Sunday paper, when they have real estate sales, I don't see that as being too far out of line. So I thought that was a better number to kind of make a comparison to this year. So I'd like to thank our department heads. I would like to thank our board members here. I'd like to thank our clerk, our accountant, and everyone that put all this hard work into creating this budget for this year.
I assume you want a motion to approve.
So I would like a motion to approve. If we can have a motion and a second, and then if anybody else wants to comment,
So
you're
moved.
welcome to
Second.
comment. So moved and seconded. Are there any comments that any of you would like to make in relation to the budget?
Actually, I think it's important to recognize that all the trustees and the mayor and all the department heads worked very hard on this in order to get to where we were. It was not an easy process by any means. We are cognizant very much of the increasing costs that go on because we had significant costs, particularly in our employee benefits, which are part of our contractual basis, and those employee benefits increased over 20%. So we're working very hard in order to manage this as much as possible. I also, when I start looking at the news, I start seeing a new municipality every day talking about the difficulties that they're having with meeting their budgets as well. And I've talked about a number of them. Yesterday, I looked at it, and Geneva was actually coming up very strong, and actually Geneva actually pushed a real budget concern, because what they did is they basically eliminated the budget for all travel, all outside education pieces, and also for the mayor and the trustees not to receive pay also during this time period. So they are looking at very severe problems, and most of this is brought about because of our benefit packages for our employees, which are under the New York State system, and our insurances. The other part that people don't talk much about is actually our insurances that the village holds themselves in order to indemnify the village in order to protect our village residents also. And that's the other piece that is very, very strong increase also. So that was somewhere between 16 and 18%, if I remember correctly. So that's the kind of thing that we're working with. We hope to try to keep ourselves working forward in order to be able to deal with this. And we know that the next year is going to be difficult, but we also know that right now we have faced significant increases in our costs. And there's no way that we can avoid that. And there's no way that any municipality right now can avoid it. And I personally expect most municipalities, school districts, which also share the same benefit packages via New York State, are going to see significant issues with creating budgets for this coming year. So that's the other piece that we have to understand. Doesn't make it any better, but it's the kind of thing that I'm well aware of where we're going. Thank you.
Do you want to say something? Go ahead. One of the things that folks may not know is that during the process, the board identified a number of areas for study, which I think was important, because in order to be prepared by the time we start the next budget cycle, which really kind of begins in January, we need to do some study on some issues, and we've committed to a process in which we'll do that. And that makes me feel like we're going to be in a better place next year when we expect the rising costs, but we will be preparing for those.
I don't have much additional comments or statements. I agree with what everybody has stated so far. We've all been grappling with all of these issues. We're very aware of them. We're aware that our municipality is really in the business of providing a service to our residents. And we want to continue providing the highest quality service that we can afford to do. And we all take that very seriously. And so we are striving hard to manage and balance the costs, the rising costs of incidentals that we have zero control over. External forces are causing those costs to rise, while we have control over the quality of service that can be provided. So hopefully we've reached a good balance this year. And as mentioned, we will continue looking at areas and ways that we could perhaps approach these external factors so that they're not affecting the cost of the services we provide in the future. So
I get to go last and I actually, all I'm gonna do is repeat what I've heard from other people. I certainly appreciate the services that we offer, and I hope all the residents appreciate those. And by keeping those at the high quality that they currently are. This office gets a lot of compliments, DPW gets a lot. Fire department, of course, gets a lot. A lot of compliments. So in order to do that, you're gonna have to pay for them, and unfortunately, we had some huge rises in some of the as Jane said, some of the places that we can't control. So I appreciate the amount of work that everybody put in, and hopefully everything will go along fine during the year using this budget.
I'd like to compliment the mayor, because we had a very rigorous process, and all along the way, you kept us well informed. We had a different process because we now have an accounting service. And there was always a lot of due diligence that came to the table for each of our meetings, between you and our clerk. That transition was very smooth. We had more information because of that transition too. So I compliment the way you handled this.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. And then just, obviously we all look at this and we've lowered the tax rate the last several years. Now we're having to raise it a little bit less than what we've lowered it, but still it's still lower than what it was, but we are raising it a little bit this year. And just out of curiosity, because you do kind of look, we know what our bills are and what our expenses are based upon what we've reviewed over the last several months here working on this budget. So I just Googled, and AI said that in central New York to March of this year, the cost of living has increased 4%. So by raising our tax rate to 2.58%, we're kind of well below that. I felt better about the numbers, because numbers can say a lot of things, and you can make numbers say a lot of things differently than what they are. But I think that for continuing to be able to provide all the services, we're not cutting services, we're not pulling back on different things. We've just taken a hard look on where we can have different incomes coming in and different expenses going out as to why we have to do what we're doing with the budget. But again, it goes to like everybody said, hard work on a lot of people's part, not just one. So it was a good process by all. So we have a motion and a second.
second.
Yep. So all in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Okay, thanks. Next on the agenda, we have a resolution for the multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan. Everyone's familiar with the plan and what's going on, so I have a resolution that would be dated today, that the Village of Fayetteville Board of Trustees recognizes the threat that natural hazards pose to people and property within the Village of Fayetteville. And whereas the Village of Fayetteville has prepared a multi-hazard mitigation plan, hereby known as Onondaga County 2025 Hazard Mitigation Plan, in accordance with the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000. And whereas Onondaga County 2025 Hazard Mitigation Plan identifies mitigation goals and actions to reduce or eliminate long-term risk to people and property in the village of Fayetteville from the impacts of future hazards and disasters. And whereas adoption by the Village of Fayetteville Board of Trustees demonstrates their commitment to hazard mitigation and achieving the goals outlined in the Onondaga County 2025 Hazard Mitigation Plan. Now therefore be it resolved by the Village of Fayetteville, New York, that the Village of Fayetteville Board of Trustees adopts the Onondaga County 2025 Hazard Mitigation Plan. This plan approved by the community may be edited or amended after submission for review, but will not require the community to re-adopt any further iterations. This only applies to this specific plan and does not absolve the community from updating the plan in 5 years. So this is a plan that we are part of with Onondaga County, and it is for a 5-year period, and it's basically being renewed at this point from our previous plan and updated.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any other questions? All in favor? Thank you.
Wait, Dan, or do we consider him staying?
We can wait a minute if you want to. Fine.
For his timing.
So you do great work, Darren, but you, I think, transposed 2 letters. Community.
You okay with voting on the?
Yeah.
We voted, okay. All right.
Development grant.
I-
That's fine. For some reason, I have seen it.
We do it every year.
in some of the
Every
others, so
5
I don't
years.
know if they did it all, and It's been continued ever since.
That sounds,
I
almost,
just
that
copied
almost
this-
sounds like a dispensary, CBDG.
I get, every time I look at it, I'm like, this doesn't make sense, but this is what everybody seems to keep reusing.
So we need to,
Everybody's in favor of it.
yeah.
Okay, just to
Yeah, Dan,
clarify.
said yes. Yeah. Next
Sure.
is the resolution. Is this the right letters? The
Community development,
it's
just say
CBD.
community development.
Community
grant.
Development Grant application. So we had a resolution, we submitted our 5-year plan. This is for the repaving of the park, the Canal Landing Park trails that are already paved and need to be repaired or updated or replaced. We did not have a price for that until like yesterday or something when Karen got it, because we asked for it and we were delayed in getting it. So this is just a resolution for us to approve to submit this application for this year's community development grant. It has to do with that, and Karen has the numbers, but some of it's gonna be done in kind from the DPW.
Yeah, the quote was for under 160,000. Just under half of that, Tyler indicated is work that he can do himself, so it would be most likely significantly less expenses once all said and done. And there were some monies received from the infrastructure grant towards parks. The last year's application.
That's our
One I just
VIP
did
money
is
from
for the upcoming
Onondaga
year.
County.
That part always throws me, there always a year off. So, the hopes is that this grant will help cover, the 83,480. For the pavers themselves. to
But
do.
the grant itself is 50,000.
Well, the grant itself is usually capped at 50,000. That's.
I don't, well, I did not know, I did not see anything, I was curious
That's what I
myself,
said.
You
that-
just,
because the
we've always
boiler.
asked for 50, but I
Oh.
don't think it's
It
capped.
seems to have been buried in the boiler grant, and when I looked at that was for 80.
Oh, okay.
So I think 50 is probably a sure bet, maybe.
A
I don't
safe
know if
number.
that's a
Yeah.
safe
Oh,
number.
Okay.
So when I first went with it, I went with that, not recognizing this project was more involved. And
Right.
materials were more than I realized.
Right.
So I'm hoping I can resubmit these numbers. So we are still looking for at least 54,000. That's the requested amount.
Oh,
Okay.
good.
So it seemed realistic and not far off what we had thought we were gonna be looking.
I guess I was always just under that impression. I don't know that I ever knew it, like a factual of the 50,000,
Right.
but it seems like that's what we've always kind of centered around as far as asking in the past. I don't know.
Yeah, and I didn't see anything. I don't know, but at one time there was a cap, and as time's gone on, they're a little more open to it. But
Could
I
be
think
the
it depends
type of
on the number of
project too, or
applications
whatever.
they get, and what kind of
Yeah.
monies.
Well, they
also
also showing, showing substantial in-kind and other source. of
Right,
funds.
I had just left that number off, I had before, I had just put the amount we were requesting with the understanding the difference was what we were gonna be supplying. But yeah, this definitely shows better that we're definitely putting
we're
efforts
investing.
towards,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay,
Good.
so,
Why do you have no? Oh, because we're approving it now. No, on page 4, for source.
Yeah, because at the time, technically, this would have been before we
Okay, okay.
had actually approved it.
And then I think in the front on page 1, you're gonna add in a couple of dates. Public hearing held and resolution. Right?
Well, the resolution I probably should have known because at the time when I submitted this, I didn't have this. That's what we're doing tonight.
Okay.
right,
And I had. So the job quote is really for us,
The purpose
not
is
so much, because we talk about priced items separately as Tyler expressed, so that's just for our internal note. Is that correct? On the job quote page.
the two figures, they
No,
separate.
down at the bottom under notes.
Oh, Tyler, okay, I didn't know what you were referencing. Tyler had asked to separate out the jobs because he had recognized there might be some specific that we could do. He wanted to get a better idea of what the cost would be for excavating versus the paving.
So it says we might do it, but we are gonna do it, because that's in our budget. That's the only reason I asked. If this is our internal wording, that's no big deal, but if it's wording to the county, you might wanna say. DPW will do the excavation. Just so you know, just a little thing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
That kind of corresponds with the budget.
right, any other questions? Okay, well, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Karen has the solicitor's permit that she'd like to talk to us about.
Yeah, only because, so we had gotten last week, an application from Aptiva. They're a pest control service, Aptiva. And there are 7 individuals looking to do solicitations on behalf of this company, Aptiva Environmental. We've got all the backgrounds, they came back fine, they had, received a permit last year. We didn't receive any complaints or comments about it. But today Carrie Gravelding with the town also had received this and wanted to let other villages know that she was not issuing it just yet because she was uncomfortable with some of the signatures. She wasn't here at the time. Their protocol is to have them signed in front of her in person, which we haven't specifically requested. And we've had some done in front of us and some, they just bring all the completed packets and we issue it accordingly. But in their instance, you know, that's her requirement, and because she didn't see it, she questioned some of them. And their approval is a little different. It goes through her only. It's not approved by the board. So it's up to her specific alone. So I don't see any issues with it, but I was going to present this with the understanding that this would be held until I hear what the town's decision is, that I wasn't going to release this permit until I know the town also has one.
So
What
Ca-
are her concern, what are her concerns about the signatures? Just that it wasn't signed in front of her?
That it wasn't signed in front of her, and for whatever reason, of the couple, the way they were signed, she just questioned them. I don't know if they didn't match identically to the IDs that were presented. And mind you, they're all out of state, they're all
One more-
California, so I
One
don't
more
know.
question. Are the people who sign the actual folks who do the soliciting?
Yes, that should be, yes,
Because they're the ones who you do the background check on.
correct.
So that's why she wants to make sure that Joe Smith is Joe Smith.
Right, and it's just was submitted on behalf of the local representative.
And do you know if however number we have, you said we have quite a few,
There's 7 here.
is she getting the same 7? Did
We
you
actually,
their
I take
names?
that back, she has 7, we have 8. I didn't find that out yet. it's the same.
But if we have, so this might be for Ted, if we have, so we have different protocol about how we approve and what we do for solicitors, so there's one difference, I don't know if we can approve it and hold it, or, and base our decision upon that. The other thing is, I thought we have to always approve them, because of the, other laws involved or whatever. And if we have the background checks that I'll check out, and if we haven't had complaints in the past, do we hold it for any reason, or do we just let it go? And if we, like any other approval of a solicitor, if we do get complaints, then we pull their permit as opposed to holding it to find out why the town didn't issue the same type of thing too. I mean, there's some, in my mind, there's like some things going on here, like we always do it this way. Even if it's different, so it's different than the town.
Yeah.
Can we not do it? Because I thought we always kind of had to do it
I think
based
the
upon
board
the
should
law.
continue to function under the protocol it's established for the village.
Right.
And, the town has its separate path it goes, and let the town do what the town's gonna do.
Right.
It's one of those things we never recognize that the differences,
Right.
and I think. I appreciate her efforts is trying to keep everybody on the same playing field. Because these organizations do go to all the different municipalities, and she wanted to make sure we were. Treating them similarly, so probably they weren't any more confused than some of the residents of
Right.
what's approved, what's not.
I'm right down the line with Ted here because I don't see, we have two separate processes. You continue with your processes. Theirs does not do anything to our process, is really what's going on here. If you want to consider down the road, because I can't consider it for this particular one at the moment, if you want to go down in the future and say we should actually have a notary public witness the signature of all the people who are putting in or something of that nature to make sure that you've got the person signing that is the person that's on
We
there.
could change our protocol. or
We'd
whatever.
have to change our protocol to do that. That's all I'm saying. And they're basically, that's what they're looking at from their process, because she in fact is the notary as well. So that she can actually move that, and so it's done in her presence as well. So that's what has to be done. We haven't had that in place, so I can't enforce that on them now.
No,
You know what I
and
mean?
the other part of it is if our real concern is if they are not who they say they are. They can still, if they're really trying to I don't think they're trying to be like devilish or evil or anything,
No.
but they just want everybody to be able to go solicit.
Right.
Yeah.
So. How are we gonna make sure that Joe Smith is the one who actually went around and solicited, even if he is the one who signed?
And I have another problem.
Yeah,
For me
so-
to take a look at signatures and say this one's correct, this is correct, and the other one is not correct, on what basis? I've got a real hard time with it. Because in other cases, in order to do that under election law in New York State, it actually has to go to a state Supreme Court in order to decide it. It cannot be decided outside of court. So I am not going to get down that road at all.
So what's good, so what Chief Consalia has asked that any permits that are approved.
Right,
Are submitted to a specific email address he's given us now. We've always notified the police generically, we just fax.
Right.
But he says going forward, if we could just have everybody submit to one point of contact. The applications that were completed or the permits along with their identification so that the officers can in fact identify this is the person. So they know who and who is not.
Yeah. That's fine.
What they look
That
like.
to me is more secure than whether they.
Right, so with, that added
And I-
caveat, I
I'm
think that
only-
helps cover us either way.
Right, and I'm only speaking on behalf of what we've experienced with these people before, so we haven't had any issues or problems or questions or anything. I just don't wanna do something that's going to cause us a problem that we don't need to have. Like if we say, yes, you can do it, but we're gonna hold it until this time or that time, then we might not be able to, they could come
Yeah,
back on
that
us.
was the only
and
thing
say-
I could think of is
But,
to
yeah,
have you
I mean,
review
that's
it,
just a-
then, release it.
If we had had problems with them in the past, we could probably then put some more parameters on it or stuff like that, even if it's not our regular protocol. If we've had complaints or problems with them, but I think given the fact that we've had them before and they haven't caused a problem that we know of anyways, that we would just perhaps approve it for now and then if we want to look at, again, our protocol about how we do that or what we do, we could kind of think about that a little bit more than just 5 minutes here tonight and think about the ramifications of any of those things, having people sign in front of a notary, sign to you, to Jane's point. I could sign a paper and say I'm going to solicit, but then I could give my paper to somebody else to go there. I wouldn't, somebody comes to my door, they wouldn't know, I wouldn't know if it was them or somebody else. They could hand me their paper and it could say whatever name. Like,
It's okay with everyone. At police commission meetings, we have time to report out from our various villages, anything that we want to. It would be a time to maybe talk about why the chief. What's going on with the chief that he's changing his procedures on his end. I think it relates to increased security related to changes in our society. But I don't know that, and it's best for villages and the town to have that conversation together and look and see, does he think that it may be good for us to have a uniform kind of procedure? Or is everyone following their own procedures okay? Is that okay?
No, I agree. We should look at a similar procedure so that we're working with the same one. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
For us to basically look at this now and say, I don't want to do this based on what's going on, that becomes arbitrary and capricious.
Yeah.
And that's the problem that I'm looking at. So I do believe that we should go forward with this. And so I, in fact, will make a motion to accept the solicitor's permit for Aptiva Environmental.
move to we have
Second.
second, all in favor?
Mike,
Aye.
wait,
Oh,
whoa,
sorry.
whoa, whoa.
All right,
What's our time limit on that?
I don't have a copy of the template of the letter, but
I think,
usually to,
well, you mean how long this permit is good?
the time limit, there's two time limits.
oh, for the, it's usually for a year
Ooh,
overall, and then there's times served.
okay.
Which I didn't know if that's what
Yeah.
you're.
No, I'm asking about both.
Right.
Yes,
I'm asking about both. If you think it's good for a year,
it is good for a year. It's
Okay.
typically what we.
all right, okay, now, when we get to the time limits, I think each individual request, we should put the time limits on for
I
that.
think they do.
We do,
Okay,
because we have discussed in the past. I don't, I
Okay.
believe it's to 7 p.m. like.
Yeah, we changed
something
it.
Seven
So
p.m. daily and then.
so
week-
what-
and
what time in the
Saturdays and on
morning?
Sunday.
9.
That sounds about right.
Okay, well, I think for each individual one, we should take a look at that. So I mean, I go 9 to 7,
Well, we have to make a time for everybody the same.
I think
but,
the parameters should be uniform.
It's consistent for every application.
okay, fine.
We did make a decision on this.
Yeah,
All right,
and I
no.
could go grab a letter. if you
Okay,
need
so
it
we're gonna
now.
get 9 to 7.
I can
okay.
get a
No,
letter. if you
that's
want me
good.
To show you.
Let's make a decision and then you can do that. If it's different.
Just in
we
the
can-
winter, 7 to start.
Well, why don't we revisit the
No,
time?
I wanna do it.
No, let's just make a decision. Sorry, I don't mean to tell you. what
No,
to do.
no,
I'm
you're
being
fine.
persnickety.
No, you're okay.
No,
I can
okay.
take, I can handle persnickety.
I wanna do it.
So are you suggesting,
The
go
letter.
get a copy of the letter then, if we're
And
gonna do it,
because I
we're gonna do
believe,
it.
it's a result of the same conversation that had in the past. So
Yeah.
that it's, because it used to be to dusk. You know, because of
Right,
the
now we
times of the
put
year
time,
could
yeah,
vary,
yeah.
but now
It was
it's till
bad.
7.
It was bad,
Yeah.
So Ted,
unless it was winter time,
Yep.
then it was good.
is as, we have to grant solicitors permits. And we charge for solicitors permit.
I think you can, as long as the cost is reasonably related to.
Right, I mean, I'm not thinking we're gonna make $500 off a
Right.
solicitor, but can we make $50 off of a solicitor or $100 off a solicitor? I don't know, we're looking for revenue in our budget, so this is. It brings up, some other questions other than the parameters of what we're gonna allow to do and when we're gonna allow to do it.
It's the cost
It-
of,
it-
it would be the cost of our clerk going through the paperwork and doing
basically.
the background
It-
checks. So
Well, they have to pay for the
In
background
my
check.
code, in my code thing, I'm working on that.
Okay,
That's one of the things I have written down.
well, I didn't, okay.
Well, we're waiting for Karen. I got a couple other things if you wanna talk about them.
No, not till she's taking a minute. Unless you're,
No, I got a couple things for my trustee report. Just a couple quick things.
but she won't.
but she won't be here to take the
The
minute.
minutes.
It's not important, just
Okay.
it's only for the board.
Go for it.
Okay, here's one thing I think we should charge for.
Oh.
A CO.
Certificate of occupation.
Occupancy.
Okay, yes. Okay, I think we should. We don't.
Sometime during the year, because I looked at a couple
Why,
just
why
to
do we
be
get a
sure.
headache?
Last year, to the same group of Tiva, the hours are actually Monday through Friday between 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., Saturday between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m., no Sundays or holidays.
Okay, that's good.
I'm with that.
So that time frame could work all year long, because even though it gets dark
Yeah.
at 5, 1 hour into dark is probably not too bad, right? And reasonable for solicitor.
Yeah, that's good. I go with those.
And I
There's
just,
16 solicitors. in that one organization.
so Monday to Friday, 9 to 6. Saturday
10 to 3.
10 to 4.
to 4, no Sunday.
Oh, Sunday.
Okay.
I amend my motion.
Dan, you still second?
I seconded.
You second?
So we'll do that. That'll be our time frame that we use for everybody, but we haven't been using it for everybody. That will be the time frame that we are going to use for everybody. So we have that set. We're going to look at the idea of a fee perhaps for a solicitor's permit, some kind of a thing or
There is a
whatever.
fee,
How much do they pay now?
Yeah,
250.
Oh, all right, well,
So
Yeah, I
it's-
got it.
there's a fee per organization,
you're gonna say,
and then it's $25 for each background associated.
right.
Okay.
I have.
So then we can look at what-
Sure.
well, all right, well, all
My
right.
feature.
I thought we were gonna get money.
Gotta get together with you and.
I've never bought a solicitor's permit in the village.
I think better the next time.
You're off. Okay. Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're good with that. That took a long time for something, but.
I want to see you explain this next one. Where you been going?
Nikon conference is May 13th to 15th. I would like permission to go to that, and get reimbursed up to whatever the cost is, but not to exceed whatever the budgeted amount is. Which I don't think it will, but I don't know. I already
move
paid,
to
I've
accept
already
your-
paid for it, so.
And to accept that, go to the NICOM conference in May.
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
So this is a board meeting of the 27th, when you put your voucher through, put that in there. Then I can look it on.
I won't put a voucher through till after it's over with.
Yeah, I know, but I have to look them up about that.
All right. Okay, trustee reports. You wanna
I'd
start?
be happy to start. We are gonna have a public meeting for the zoning code update on May 6th from 5 to 7 at the Center for Active Adults. There are flyers. I went out today and posted them all around. And if you want to grab a few, post some more around, please do. If you have friends or folks you know who might be interested, you can shoot them an email. We have it set up as a JPEG, which can be attached to your email, so you don't have to try to repeat everything. Karen can send that out to every one of you, and then you can do it as you think about it. It doesn't have to be all at once. It can be, between now and then. So that's a really big deal. We do not have the final draft of the code. Committee met just a few, last week, made some changes. Consultant is going through that. As soon as they're done with all of that, we will then have the code posted on our website. And everybody will get a draft. And you can let Karen know if you want a hard copy or a soft copy. Or both, right?
It's Wednesday, right?
Yes,
What time?
5 to 7.
Oh, that's like golf now.
What time do you play golf? Or what time do you supposedly play golf?
Depends on what day of the week it
Oh,
From 9 a.m. to 6 p.m.
is. Like the solicitors.
Jane, is there going to be a presentation of it, or is
No.
it gonna be the posters?
So it's going to be in an open house style. So everybody can come on, whatever is convenient for them time wise. You will not miss any kind of 20-minute presentation. We are providing the context to why we're doing this update, how we're doing the update, that kind of thing on a board. So people can come in and read about it. They're also gonna have a 5 or 10-minute presentation looping video, a 5 or 10-minute video looping all the time. So you can come and pick up on that when, whenever you can get there. There will be 4 stations with the consultants at each station. And those stations are the same station to explain the update in the code. So people don't get all choked up on one station. You can move around and bring up the questions you have for yourself on the code. The zoning map is going to be out in full display. They have a neat little process. I think it's going to be on the screen where you literally can, drag a bar and take it to the left, and that's the new map. Drag it to the right, and that's the old map. So you can do a little bit of comparison. We're trying to provide that comparison piece for the zoning map. For these regulations themselves, there's no way we can show a red line. It's just been changed too much, not just in words, but in format and structure, which our code really desperately needed. I think the code is very well organized right now. I think it's going to be, I hope everybody finds it to be much easier to use, because I did. I think it is, but I look forward to everybody kind of getting in there and checking it out. This is the meeting. We can continue looking at it as a community. The committee will meet about a week after that, week and a half after that. Talk about all the public comments that came in to determine whether there should be an adjustment or amendment in the working draft of the code. And at some point from that meeting, we will then be presenting it to the board for consideration. So this is not an official presentation of a draft to the board. This is a working draft for the full community to come out and digest. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sounds very
There still will be what we call seeker review. That's the environmental quality review that's required by New York State. We will need to go through that. Consultants will help us,
The board will go through that.
Pardon me?
We'll go through. secret,
Yes.
so.
Yes,
And it has to go through the county
Yeah.
planning agency.
Yes.
So you have to get it into them, so.
Yeah, but we're not gonna get anything to them until we call what we're gonna call final for the board to look at, and then the county
Okay.
can look at it.
Yeah, they have one meeting day each month, so
I know,
it's a
know.
pain. Well,
I
you
know.
know.
Yeah.
I've been,
Whether we make their June meeting
yeah, that's.
is real iffy, so we'll definitely make their July meeting.
Okay,
So that's zoning. Community garden is up and running. I've been working with Tyler on making improvements for the users of the garden. Walkways, trying to keep the weeds down, trying to set up compost areas so we don't have a lot of critter problems. He's thinking of providing water access for them in a little bit more convenient manner. So he and I have been talking about that. He has not been able to get to it. We've had too much, real management with the village. That's clear. Community garden is not high on the list, but we'll get there. We'll get there. The idea is to get this set up so that the DPW spends less and less time fixing it up, and the gardeners get to just go in there and do their. Senior Center is having their annual meeting tonight. I spoke with Janet. I spoke with Karen, a little bit Tyler, put together a list of current active projects for the Senior Center, and then a list of wants, if you will, and needs. My goal is to get a few of us together, Tyler being absolutely important on this meeting, with Janet, to identify all of their wants and needs. And then for us to understand as a village, what, as a landlord village, what we must do, what we can do. Instead of, and put some real time frame to it. You know, so that's gonna happen probably in the next month or so. And have a new granddaughter,
Hey,
Oh, congratulations.
focusing on that.
Her name.
Oh, Clementine Jane.
Ooh,
I'm a namesake, I know, that just,
big darling.
I was a
Ah.
faucet when she told me that.
Could be,
Aw.
Told me the day before, I'm like,
could be
what's the name?
dangerous.
And she's like, I don't have any names. I don't know what to do. We don't know what to do with names, and yet they had it all worked out. So. I don't think I have anything else.
Dan?
We haven't made any. We haven't made any progress on the Blue Way Greenway Pier Canal. You know, we haven't gotten any paperwork from the
oh,
county.
right, yeah.
That's all still, and I'm kind of keeping it at a low bubble, because we needed to get through our budget. And it's something in time we'll have time for. So that's something to report on.
Well, I'm struggling through, have you done?
I think so.
Okay, I've struggled through the codes, different ones, and included in the codes is things that are done out of the office up here, and that's, I'm doing the whole thing. I'm got all the other, so a lot of other communities see what they charge for foil, this and this and this and this. That, a couple things I'd like you to think about. We don't currently charge for a CO. And most of the other communities do charge for a CO. How you go about doing it, I've talked to Mike, I have a couple different ways, but if there's someone that vehemently objects to us doing that, you know, half the time people get the permit, they get done with the work, and one of two things happen. Sometimes they get done, sometimes not. What they do is they just move it. I mean, if it's a new house, move. If it's a deck, what do you need a seal? You know, I understand. So there's different things, so we're looking at different,
How do you justify the fee? To me, that'd be a deterrent.
pardon me?
If they've got the permit and they've done the work, they're supposed to wait till a CO is issued to move in.
Well,
But now to get one, they'd have to get a fee.
yeah, but they,
Them, they may not care.
well, I'm just going through the other communities.
Now, I'm just curious what
Most of them do.
catalyst, how does that?
And the catalyst was when I saw the other ones were charging.
No. How do the other communities get their builders to actually pay for and seek a CO?
Mhm.
Well,
When,
Thank you.
when they won't even come and get a CO and they pay nothing.
You're right,
Thank you. That's
You're
what I-
right.
that's
You're
what I'm
right.
thinking.
you're right, and we discussed that, exactly.
I find that surprising.
Well, actually, they're using the CO in order to close out the project so that it's done.
Because the project isn't closed
That's
until.
exactly what they're doing. Until
There you
it's
go.
closed, you're right on the money. It's not gonna happen.
So
And they have to be
We
aware of
just
it.
need a stronger code enforcement.
Okay, so we could just, we could throw that one under the bus, but.
No,
He-
No,
he-
we're just trying to figure out why
But
some
they-
communities do that. There must be a reason that they created that fee structure.
Technically, until they ask for the CO, they're not done,
yes,
technically.
yes. So this is what an enforcement process is all about. So technically, Mike should be on top of the deck that everybody's barbecuing on that doesn't have a CO.
Which he does in some cases. He goes and says, you gotta renew your permit because your permit expired. Well, we're already using them. There you go.
So can you have an example of how much a CO costs?
Different ones. have
Like a
different-
ballpark or whatever.
Well, it
Just
depends.
just pick a number then, I guess.
He and I discussed it and I personally think that the original CO, if he goes and there's nothing wrong, it's sort of like a gratis thing, maybe a small amount. Some
What's-
places
What were some of the fees that were being charged?
Oh, I can't remember. I've been going through fee after fee. I've been doing foils, I've been doing all the rest of it, so. I can't remember exactly, but I'll have a list.
My
The list.
opinion is that we get the money up front in the building permit and not charge for the CO.
Well, we charge for the.
Because, no, I know, charge
Okay,
more
this
for
is
the
my
permit
opinion.
and then not for the CO.
I agree.
That's just a quick
Well,
thought.
that's why I'm.
But we should also charge, we should charge for not getting a CO. We should penalize them.
Right.
If they get caught having their hot dog before they got their CO,
Well, charge them for the CO when you give them the building permit and
That's,
refund it if they get the CO. Then we get the
That-
money.
that's why
before
I'm,
they start the project.
that's why I'm bringing these things up.
Okay,
They
we got
think
some
about it.
settled for you.
This is not, this
it's
is,
a.
this is not in stone.
Okay.
Good.
Okay,
Or ink.
how about fences?
May I say something?
Yeah.
It's kind of like similar to what I said during our budget workshop. There were a lot of different types of fees and there were 8 municipalities. And so rather than go through them individually, it will be good to have everything written down on paper. And what I'm thinking of is, let's say CO. And this municipality charges this, that, or the other. It's a table. So we are looking at, we have that information, but not, right now I have no information.
Right.
In front of me.
I'm planning on doing that.
Okay, so then I would recommend that we not discuss things individually until we have a whole package to look
Well,
at.
the only thing is, there's some things that we don't have. I don't know whether I should put them on there. If we don't currently have them.
Everything that you think is something that we need to look at, I think, after you get all the information kind of like condensed in some fashion, you can make a set series of recommendations to call our attention to certain lines, and say, we're fine on these, but these are the ones I want you to look at, and then we can think a little bit about what's the rationale here, because I think we all are interested in having you do this really important task. But for me, I have to look at the whole.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll have a list.
I think that would be helpful.
Okay,
I would be willing to help you with
my
that.
next project is trying to get a hold of National Grid with regard to the
Charging station.
charging. I can't get, I called the number that Karen gave me. This 3, 4, 5 times. And I'm not getting them much, so I'm going to actually get a hold of National Grid and say, what are we doing here? I gotta talk to this person. And I actually have 3 different places where we can get setups. For when we go for charging. Okay, so I have 3 different, but until I get a hold of National Grid, I can't do it. So I'm still
Could we
trying
just
to.
call the billing office like some people do and they put their service on
Okay.
temporary hold?
Yeah, okay, here's what I'm doing. I went to talk to that guy for 3, I have 3 things on my list. That's one. But there's another one, there's the thing of that, and Casey saw this. There's some bills that we get, there's no address. Where's the meter?
But who's this guy you're gonna talk to? What's he at National?
His
Grid?
name is
I don't care.
Brad Smith.
He could be John
I don't-
Jones.
it's
but
a
what is-
name
what
that,
is
uh,
his-
I think he's like an area
Right.
representative. He
Here-
took the
here,
place
give
of
me-
Dave Hess.
Oh,
I don't remember what Dave Hess's title was per se.
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I'm
I
thinking at
just,
this point, just to call the 800
Yeah.
number on the bill itself like you would. with the
Yeah,
phone.
okay, well, I'm gonna do that, but I also had a friend tell me today that he might be able to do something, so I'll do both of these. Okay, so anyway,
I'd have to look at the accounts to see what the meter,
I have the numbers.
I have the bills too, but some of them, you're right, don't have a number. They have to do with a meter because they're Franklin Park. Or, it's Franklin Street because it's the park.
Well, Patty tried to do some
It's not a
things,
specific address.
and she ran into the same problem I have. If you get a hold of a person, they'll listen to what you say and then say, well, what are we gonna do? And they'll say, well, we know what your problem is. Well, there you go.
They acknowledge that they know what the problem is. They don't give you a solution.
I wanna know where the meter is. For the bills I'm looking. Some of them have where the meter is, and I go and look at the meters, there they are. I see them, they look legit. Some of them, I don't know where the meters are. Absolutely no addresses. So, okay, that's it. I'm done.
Okay. Since Jane talked about the codes review, and I'm appreciative of that because it really is a big deal that we're looking at trying to get down the road here. Hope everyone comes to that along the way. I have another one too. Part of our renewable FAFO, working under our climate smart community, is our climate change adaptation and resiliency plan. Now, I'm glad this all forced everybody to take a look at your hazardous mitigation plan, because this is all a piece and part of what we're doing with the climate change adaptation and resiliency plan, because the other part is we're pulling in things such as our DPW and also what we're doing with our fire, et cetera. And we've got a meeting set up for May 12th at 6 p.m. at the Faithful Free Library. I'd like to invite all of you to be there, because the mayor will be there, I will be there, the fire chief will be there, the DPW chief will be there. And we'll be talking about that because we're actually working with the Central New York Regional Planning and Development Board on this, because they're spearheading this for us, because it's really a very extensive take a look at what we're doing in order to deal with the changes that are happening into our climate. And Isabel Wilson is actually the person who's working with that, and she's been very helpful in working with that along the way. So we're very much key with working with her. And I've been working with Isabel for, I don't know, a couple months now, solid. So just trying to make sure we get everything in play in order to do this. There are other things we're working on at the same time with the Central New York Regional Planning and Development as well. So that we're really trying to work with a variety of different things along the way. And so I want to make sure that I offer to make sure that you folks all can be there if you can. If you can't, you can't. That's fine. I understand. Like all of us, none of us, we can be everywhere. I'm aware of that one too. And I'll stop right there.
Okay. I'm just gonna start with police department. Jane, Dan, Mike and I attended the recent annual Police Benevolent Association banquet. And as it has been for many years now, Christy Casciano is the MC of that event. And she makes it interesting because she threads really well-written stories throughout the awards, giving them life, and actually at some point had me on my seat. Wow, what happened next? So it was a great event, and Village of Fayetteville was very well represented. The department, if you remember correctly, the department goes through CALIA, which is the highest level of national accreditation, and last year they went through an on-site review, which is more extensive, but there is an annual review, and they just had their annual review, first annual review since the on-site one, and everything came out really strong again. It's done on a web-based basis. They looked at 219 files, and they did deep interviews on 4 subjects. The police department is also going through a process with New York State Police on an accreditation process as well. William Nicholson was elected to be the chair for the police commission for the upcoming year. And it is something that one of the points that I raised is I think that there needs to be a rotation in the chair. And that we've had William for a few years now. And so next year, I think it would be good if there was a village representative as the chair, and that we just rotate that a little bit more so that there's some continuity. And I have kind of said that's something that I would really like to do. I mentioned it last year and I came close this year, but now I committed to, I would really like to put my name forth. And I know at least one of the other villages thinks that that's a good idea as well. I think all of you received an email from me, but I hope you did anyway with the email glitch that we're Patty and I, Karen's supervision always, are working on the next newsletter. And it's our summer fall newsletter. So it goes, the period of time we want to cover is June 1st to like September 30th. And just to reiterate the deadlines, we would like copy by May 11th. in order for us to get it to the printer by May 20th. And hopefully into homes by June 1st. So we're trying to get some of the dates nailed down. And we are in a comfortable time frame right now, so I'm hoping it's gonna come together smoothly. Although Karen tells me there's always like a little something that it's a glitch at the end there. Does anyone have any questions about that?
When did you anticipate it might be out then?
It might be out
June
June 1st. That's what we're shooting for.
All right.
So, rec does have, it's important time for rec. But in the email I mentioned, I just asked you guys questions about, anything from this group or anything for that, just, if there isn't going to be something, it's great if we know, because this is gonna be chock full of information. Then tree commission met, last week, and our pruners have been out regularly and have dates set up through the fall. And we are not just encouraging anyone to come and work on pruning, because it is a skill set that you can't. It's hard to both do the work and train people at the same time. So those who are going through community tree stewards with Cornell Cooperative Extension are in that pool, or anyone who's come and already learned from Leanna when she did a small workshop. We're also beginning to talk about the fall tree planting, so that it is easier than it was last year. It was a little tumultuous last year. And we are not celebrating Arbor Day right now. Arbor Day is, can be celebrated at different times of the year. And the group would like to combine it with, either the tree planting or special tree planting, for previous tree commission members. So we'll be getting back to you on that. Just so Mark knows also that, you probably know this, but Isabel, from Section York Regional Plan Development Board also reached out to me, and we have a member that's on Mark's committee, on climate resiliency and adaptation. And, so I provided some context for them about tree related stuff, because trees are very important in climate work. In the process of doing that, several things came up for me in the conversation. So I went back into the code, and despite the fact that I've read the code on the tree commission, I absorbed it in a different way. So I looked at the code and I have presented it again for the tree commission to examine, which they did at the last meeting, and for us to consider. Karen and I had a conversation about that. It is somewhat different from what we've been doing, and it is a little bit. It's a bit of a reach. So I want the tree commission to take a look at that. One of the things that came out in that is that I didn't understand. It says parks, and I had gotten the impression that park trees were something we didn't touch, but the code says this is something that we look at. And so then I looked at Parks Commission code, and Parks Commission code says that we should have a Parks Commission representative on tree commission. So when we have a crossover and anything related to trees, there's a go-between. So we have a go-between now structurally with someone, climate action and parks. That is something, again, we can talk about. Code can be changed, but if we want to follow our code, that's something that we need to look at. If anyone has any questions about that?
I'd have to look at like you, I haven't looked at it in a while, so.
Yeah, I had never looked at the parks one because.
Yeah, why, yeah.
And if I couldn't memorize a tree, I couldn't memorize
can
all of the
remember.
rest of it.
I can remember all the fees, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, so it raised some interesting questions for us about, how some of the things we do, we may not be doing, should not be doing.
Yeah, it's not just that, but I get a little concerned that we're asking a lot from volunteers on these commissions, and I don't have a solution for that, but I do get a little concerned, not just that we're asking individuals to volunteer a lot of time, but some of the subject matter might be, I don't know, I wonder if we're abdicating some of our own responsibilities. to
I would,
to a group of volunteers, so I don't.
I share Jane's concern. Because I know our tree commission is hardworking and they're volunteering as much time as you would expect very dedicated people would do, but the scope of what's in the code is more than I think, between us as a discussion, it's more than I think 7 volunteers can do.
Right, well, I'm thinking that, my opinion is the code was written and never been readdressed. The code was written for something that we didn't have before in the village, is my understanding. So probably a lot of things were put in there because if we're talking about stuff, oh, they could do this, or oh, they could do that, or they could do the other thing. And now that we have some more practicality to the group and to the times and to the situation, maybe it's time to update the code in a way
Code, yeah.
about that, or their responsibilities as however we go about doing that, but to look at the whole picture because of what you both just said.
Yeah, I would like to do that. The code for the tree commission was written in 94, I believe, and the parks commission in 99.
Mhm.
So it has been a while since they've been looked at. But there are parts of that code that we're not really enforcing right now or living up to. And, so from a conscientious point of view, our code is our law. I would like to, put this on the list for discussion.
Okay.
So would that be something Jane, you, I and Tyler look at with maybe a representative from the tree commission, or leave commission members out for a little
Well,
bit?
yeah, I believe people out for a little bit, but I think for the initial part, I will look at the codes because again, I can't. When I've looked at them for certain things, you don't you look at them for what you're looking for and then you go on. So I will look at those and Jane can maybe too, and then we could have a little bit of a discussion about certain things and kind of pare it down to be more realistic about things.
And
And then we
think
can
another
involve
thing-
others to make sure that we're all
Yeah,
good.
definitely. One of the things is that I think when the tree commission was not convened, things evolved to fill in gaps. So now that the tree commission is, on its feet, it will be having its first anniversary in June. I think it's a good time for us to look at that in a way that we wouldn't have been able to participate in that conversation as well as I could now.
Right, I think the changing of times is part of my thought, or
Yeah.
whatever, changing of times between the members. What we would expect of future people. And who we might recruit if we have stuff too much or too little.
Yeah.
That whole thing has to be looked at.
Yeah.
Good, anything else?
I think that should do it for me today.
Ed, you got anything? Karen?
Actually, I did think of one thing just to keep everybody in the loop. And I believe I did forward you the email that we're gonna need to look for a new provider for our IT services. So that's something that, we're gonna work with BOCES to try to get some scope together, so that we can put out requests for proposals. We have till the end of the year, so we have some time and they're gonna help us. I have also since learned that the town mainly is also looking for IT services and has put out an RFP, so I've gotten a copy of theirs, but they currently work with Garum. And I think their only concern is the cost, so I think that's why they're just confirming what else is out there with there's other options. That was one provider that I was gonna look into because I think only a handful that necessarily work with municipalities are familiar with municipalities, so. So if you hear of anything, if you have any suggestions, otherwise we will see what our options are.
Would this also be affecting the 2 other villages?
Yes, they are no longer doing municipalities at all.
So if
So
Manlius or Manoa used them, we don't, did the Manlius or Manoa use?
I'm pretty sure Manoa did. I also think Village of Manlius did as well. So yeah, I didn't ask specific municipalities, but I asked how many that they had serviced, and there's about 15. So
Oh.
there's a good number of.
Better hurry up. There's a lot of people gonna be looking for.
So yeah, so sadly, there's going to be a number of us looking for services elsewhere.
Could there be some benefit in intermunicipal coordination.
Or
For bidding
And
purposes.
I'm not sure, I was thinking the same way, but I'm not sure it's
Apples to apples.
I'm not sure it's an IMA because it's, yeah, if, let's just use Garum, is that their name?
Mhm.
Let's just use them as the example. The question to Garum is, would they give the village and the town a reduced price if we both agree to work with them, but we don't have to have the same website and the same everything?
The website is independent,
Oh,
so that's not
oh,
a part of
okay,
information technology would be our computers, our cybersecurity, our network,
Email.
our servers, our email, things like that, the connectivity of it.
I don't know how
The
they save any
website,
money, but.
the website connects is, to it.
Well, I don't necessarily see it saving money, but the other part is we want to know because what's going on with New York State with cybersecurity right now is creating an issue where everybody's looking for the same thing. And really your service provider is going to be the important piece and they're going to be the ones that pull everyone else basically because of the services they pull.
Yeah,
It's not like we can
basically
bring a whole bunch of folks to them.
there's
They're
a
basically going to look and
lot
say,
of-
we do this, this is what we do, folks. And that's going to attract the folks rather than us going together with other folks necessarily. By the way, if we can jump on one another's desk and say, we want to be with you at the same time, but that's another story. That's a different approach than what we're looking for. It doesn't help us get better pricing, if you know what I mean.
And I'm not, yeah, it definitely varies because like in the town's case, they have a police department and that's a whole other.
Oh my God, that would
So
be,
that's a component that
Yeah.
they're looking for.
oh, we have the
it's-
fire department, but that's still whatever.
Yeah, it's a little, I guess a little different. So, there's,
Yeah.
so we may be able to find something quicker than they can. So to that point, because we're a little simpler, I think that does work in our favor, but it just means there's a lot of people shopping around.
Actually, by the way, I would suggest you talk to our accountant because he's working with other municipalities and I'm sure other folks would be
That's exactly.
same
the
piece where we're
perspective,
going.
We can always ask the mayor's association too, what villages and who they're using for that.
And I was trying to look on New York State, there's
And my
providers,
comment
they
actually
usually
might
have
be
selected
assistance too.
services, don't they? Or, what do they call it, recommended providers, preferred sources. So I haven't come across a list for this just yet. The other quick question I had, hope that it's quick or not, I just want to confirm, as far as the party and the plaza dates. Cause I get mixed reactions. Does anyone have any reservations about having the June date? Because of the work being done in that vicinity on the bridge?
I do not have any reservation.
I talked to the owner today of the cafe, the coffee cafe down there. Freedom, and he basically is seeing minimal issues occurring. He actually hasn't said I was surprised, Mark, but it's like it's very minimal as far as what we're seeing as far as interruptions in our business. And I have explained to him that he actually has a very loyal following within the village of Fayetteville, is really what it comes down to, and he does. And he acknowledged that as well, so it's really sort of an interesting way to look at
I
it.
think people that go use it for thoroughfare have more of an issue from some of the people who've had made comments. They're, as we're all creatures of habit, that seems to be the more of the hindrance, but the businesses seem to been able to manage.
Yeah.
I don't think that's.
Are we, looking at the
Leave it with the 18th as the day
Is
before
it
our
the third?
holiday.
the third Thursday of every month? Is that what we're gonna do?
That's what we were doing.
September.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So it'd be Thursday, June 18th.
okay, I know
Can we say the
the
rest?
fire chief had reservations about it, but
Thursday,
that's what the
June,
policy
Was his
is.
reservation because of the construction?
Yes, you
Thursday,
know, the logistics. of-
July
state option.
16th.
Well, here's the other part. We go into June, we also have July, which is a possible, because they expect to be,
And then August,
so August would be your first one where we won't
20th.
have that issue supposedly. And I wouldn't really, I think we can work
Did you get
around it if you want to. I'm not saying otherwise. I think it can be worked around.
July, I think would be okay, and I think the bridge would be in a different place of completion. I don't know, I go both ways, and in some ways, I'm like, well, this would be a test case in June to see what would happen in July.
Yeah, but the other part is in
Because it would
talking
be on
to,
a smaller scale.
talking to Freedom of Expresso, they feel that they're ahead of the game and they've talked to to the engineers on site and stuff, and they're very pleased with where it's going. They believe it probably will be on time, which is the middle of July, which, to be quite candid, is unbelievably good.
Yeah, no, I'm seem to think too that it's,
So our only option is not the date as much as it is location. If we are going to have party in the plaza, we're gonna have party in the plaza.
Right.
If we're gonna have, if we can't do it at Limestone because of the bridge construction, where else would we host it as a temporary?
Well, we're not really losing anything by not having the bridge,
I don't think we are.
because we close off the street on this side, so I have a Coley side, so people coming down the hill can still go under the bridge to the parking lot, people coming
Yeah.
out can slip up the other way.
Yeah.
People coming down Brooklyn couldn't come through that party in the plaza to utilize the bridge anyways, they would have had to take
That's right.
a different street, so we're really not affecting the traffic.
Foot traffic maybe, like you can't walk across the bridge, like
Actually,
we always
can-
parked at,
Well, you
can
can,
you now? I mean, at some point.
you actually can walk across the Route 5 bridge,
The big bridge.
the big
Big
bridge.
bridge
to get
has
there,
a-
yes,
good sidewalk.
or you
I
can
know.
walk across
I
the,
meant the little bridge.
no, you
the
can't.
bridge and canal landing and walk, so you can park behind.
Which is what we always did. We parked behind.
Freedom of Expresso, the parking lot, the
Yeah,
village
and one
parking
of the
lot.
big surprises is even though the contractor rented that parking lot, they're taking a very small portion of that.
Yeah, it's very
That's been
available
very
and it's just there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The other thing I thought of is that there would be more traffic control needed. Because you'd have to make sure nobody came down Mill Street, Fulton Street. Or Brooklyn at all into that vicinity. You know, before there was an outlet, you know, they could just.
Well,
keep going.
they have to do it now, because the bridge is closed, if they come down Mill Street, they have to go to the right, which we never blocked off anyway. And go up to Genesee Street, and I think with the bridge being out for 2 months before the party. That they're already finding different ways out of there anyway,
It's true,
in a sense, or whatever, that's my opinion, I'm not saying
because I haven't,
right, but it's.
we
just-
haven't done anything in the office about making any. Arrangements, because I just wanted to be sure, I
The only
really
people-
hadn't gotten any feedback.
The only people who couldn't get out were the ones who drove all the way to the canal in the middle of the snowstorm.
and we park at top of the aqueduct, yes.
And we got them out after a
They
while, but.
couldn't get out, but everybody else seems to find a way. I think we should do it. Obviously, tell people to be prepared, right? People are smart enough to know.
But that's why I
When
want to
I,
be sure.
when I had
because
my meeting with Sarah last week, she suggested that we could, advertise or allow people to park at the town, behind the town.
Yep.
You know, it's where they
Yep.
park for Canal Landing, that's
Yep.
where the directions are for the detour for Canal Landing
agree.
right now and stuff,
You
so,
have to be mindful because they usually have a
Yeah.
zoning board meeting that night.
right.
So that's why I want to be sure what we're doing.
So
we can
before we,
Tell them ahead of time so that they can plan for, you know, their applicants or.
right, and we may not ask, or we may not advertise this heavily, their parking lot, if they have a full agenda, but we would know closer to the time whether they have a full agenda of people coming for a board meeting, like our board meetings sometimes are probably light with people coming to applicants for different things like that, so. So I would say we would try June and then see if we made a mistake.
Just needed to hear it. I didn't want to make any decisions.
Okay,
Maybe in July, we can have a rickshaw for everybody. They can park up here and somebody can run them down.
well,
run them
hopefully
back.
it'll be nice night, people will like to walk.
In
and do
June,
stuff
I
too.
feel like the weather is,
June is always the best one.
it's. If it doesn't rain.
Yeah.
Right. They're all best if they don't rain.
No, I feel like if there's.
It's not
anyone
90
that
degrees
can
usually.
cancel for weather, it seems like it's June.
Oh,
So that's what I
okay.
find ironic, because this is the one that's most questionable and it may not even happen,
No,
all because of the rain.
yeah,
Okay.
All right, so thank you.
I have just two things. So one is brought up a subject that we've had discussions with before and we haven't really come to terms with. So one, we received a letter regarding an ambulance ride. And the letter is not really asking for a hardship consideration. The letter is explaining to me and the village that the ambulance charge that we are making is higher than the ambulance charge that they make in New York City. And this place and that place, and so they are like willing to want to try and settle with us for a certain amount of money. So nowhere does it say they can't afford to do it or that they're looking for any kind of a thing. They're just proposing that because our charges are different than other communities, that we should make an exception for them. So it's my intention to, Karen's gonna help compose with me a letter and send it back and just say, look, our charges are our charges. That's what it is. They're not really telling me they're destitute or poor or can't afford it. They're just telling me that they can't. So it's, but in the, with that letter, Karen and I had a discussion about the idea that we did have some concerns about people that when they do ask for a hardship for our services. And so back at the time, we had reached out to, and we resurrected the paperwork from our billing company in regards to how they might suggest we would handle hardship cases. So we, Karen and I are going to work on that, and then we will get something together for you and get it to you. And then perhaps it'll be on our next agenda if we get it out in time, and if not, it'll be the agenda after that, but it will be, in general, it's suggesting that you use the federal guidelines for poverty. So like there is like guidelines of where you can look is to see who qualifies for what. There's 2 or 3 different categories of things, the ways you can look at stuff. So we're gonna review those. We'll put them out for review and comments, and then we'll maybe try and resolve that issue in case we do get future requests for actual hardships as opposed to just you charge more than somebody else does type of letter. The other thing is the parade marshals or Memorial Day parade. We already approved the permit for the parade, so our parade marshal. I don't know if anybody has any thoughts. My thoughts, again, talking with Karen, was we asked John Goodfellow the last several years. He keeps saying no.
He won't
So
do it.
I would ask him again, though, just out of respect and things. If he says no, which I'm assuming he might, based on past history, I was considering asking, the Matilda Jocelyn Gage Foundation because of her 200th birthday. We talked about it last year.
Who?
Matilda Jocelyn Gage, even though she's not around to be the parade marshal, but representatives from.
They might have an outfit they could put on.
Yeah.
There used to be an outfit.
Is there an impersonator we can get? So anyways, I was thinking about that because of her 200th birthday.
She's not.
But those are just my suggestions. So if somebody else has a suggestion,
What's the criteria we're looking for?
usually someone that's more, like I don't know, Dan might have different ideas, but somebody community minded, community spirited, somebody that is. So we've done like the fire department, we've done the DPW, we've done the tree commission in the past, we've done. A lot, Henry and Donna McIntosh, we've done, different individuals. We did Tom and Leslie Rattano because of their involvement with like the tree commission and the community and stuff like that, so. So there is no, like, I don't know that we have a criteria, like a checklist that we go through, but if you know somebody that has done a lot for our community. Or with our community or for the. That's kind of where I've always thought the criteria should come from, but.
How about the chair of the Senior Center for Active Adults? Don't like.
Oh, Tony,
Tony,
that good idea. Who's that?
Tony,
The only one I caught up was Janet too.
Yeah.
I don't know if that.
Yeah, so I'm open, those were just my thoughts and I hadn't thought about other people, so that's why I'm asking you now, because.
I actually am in favor of Matilda Gage House to be candid, because it's one of those things for 200 years. They've been here. Matilda Gage's birthday is 200 years this year. So that is one of the things. And I sat with John Goodfellow the other day at an event. And we were talking about the Memorial Day parade, and John is just excited, like always, about the Memorial Day parade. So I know he would not.
if we
Take it.
do Matilda, maybe we can grab onto this 200th year theme throughout our parade, not just with the parade
In what way?
marshal.
I'm just asking, and just in what way do you envision that? Just so I have.
I
an
could
idea.
see
Well, we'll get Dan.
Dan can have these little knickers on, so his cat.
Has Dan been a trustee for 200 years again? I'm just trying to check for God's sakes. He's the longest running trustee, I'm sure.
Maybe we incorporate the brownies and the Boy Scouts who are already gonna be there. And we ask their troops to come up with some signs that are more birthday related to our.
We don't wanna lose sight of what the parade itself is actually about, though. Memorial Day.
It's Memorial Day. There's already an event for it, per se.
Usually try to keep it very subdued and
Sad.
politicking and, yes.
Because I have news for you. I mean, my veterans will have a hissy fit about.
Well, you know what?
that.
I'm fine. I don't need to.
I don't know, well, no, Tony and Janet or whatever, they're all good.
So we have John
veterans.
Goodfellow, Gage, Tony Marsalo and Janet Best, so
Yeah,
have some more ideas to ruminate over, sir.
okay. And then, but nobody has any like strong, like 100%, like don't ask
Cold
it.
water or
Don't have to
something.
say it on camera, but I mean,
All these people.
I mean, anybody's okay, like you're,
All meet the criteria.
whoever might say
They
yes.
civic mind,
People have
citizen service.
A big issue with the candy and making it.
Yeah, but everybody's so happy.
Right,
No,
so
I know,
last
but
year we had an
it's-
email about candy, so I don't know if we need to
I don't-
address that or we just leave that unspoken or how we did it.
Throw candy out again?
You know,
Guys, I definitely want to discuss it. I don't,
I thought we
I'm not
decided
in
we
favor of
want to
it.
do it.
Do you want us to outright discourage it? Or, I mean, we've tried to make sure people are mindful it's not to be thrown.
I just wanna know
But-
before we start inviting or when we have people.
Well, we've
That way-
already sent something out, but if you want me to.
Well, I mean, we should, if we're not gonna have them bring candy, we don't want to like go buy it now and.
I thought we decided last year we weren't gonna do it.
We didn't
Correct.
decide. We said we
Oh, I
would
thought
put
we
it
did.
off and discuss it, just so you know. I kept my file.
Okay.
The national organizations
Well,
discourage it. I did not contact the local organizations.
I don't know whether.
Yeah.
we're selling here.
I would like to discourage it as well, because it really is the kind of thing that's just waiting to bite you.
Waiting to bite you what? Oh, never mind. I'm not gonna get into it.
The same,
I won't bring any, okay?
It's
No,
all-
I just
it's all-
wanna make sure that-
Sad face, my red jacket,
I
sorry.
told we were gonna rediscuss it, I'm bringing it up now because
I think
I
this is good.
just don't wanna.
and the audience.
I think it's because unfortunately, some people get carried away, they take it too far, or they add more than just candy that eventually. I think
Gummies?
some,
People are throwing out gummies?
no, I'd be right there for those. I think, there were some
Is that
organizations.
the part of the parade you wanna walk in this year?
I'm afraid we were losing sight of what it was all about.
I don't know, so we're fine, I don't,
I
I'm,
respect that. I'm gonna respect that.
I mean,
We
it's
vote-
not July 4th, it's a little different atmosphere, I guess.
so we will make notice to the different people that participate that we are not going to have candy. If somebody shows up with it, we're not gonna make a big deal about it, but we will, right? I mean, I'm thinking that
Yes.
day we won't make a big deal, but
No,
we will follow through like another year to make sure that they realize.
So when
that
the
it's not-
office gets confirmation, once we get the list together, of who expected, we'll send out, we usually, as it gets closer, send reminders and. An idea of what to expect, and we certainly have to be communicating quite a bit more this year because the lineup is going to be greatly impacted. So we've got to work some details out on that. Because a lot of the vehicle, that we can't use limestone.
So
Road.
just the organization of the lineup.
So where people are gonna be,
Yeah,
is.
But we don't have any I mean, we'll still get the same players who want.
Probably, but we have to shuffle things around, so we'll be communicating,
So they
you know,
don't-
changes like that, and this will be one of them, one of the other changes. So think about that.
They're gonna have to go behind Federal Freedom of Espresso in the back parking lot, like we can all just kind of pull back.
The
card.
the VFW trucks
Yeah.
and the dignitaries that we've got to figure out where to put them because. We don't have that flow through limestone up the hill.
No, I know that, I know that.
And
It's
some
not
of
like
them
the
could-
band kind of lines up in
Yeah.
the parking lot entrance by Freedom of Access, so the,
Right.
the kids are
School-
standing
school
there, they're
bands
not
meet
like,
at Freedom Express, so everybody historically seems to know where to gravitate to, but the trucks that go on Limestone Plaza, I mean, there's half of the road, but there's no way they
Yeah.
can U-turn through all that, so we're gonna see what we can do on Route 5. If we can work something out.
we still may be able to
It's-
put the dignitaries' cars in limestone in front of the park.
There's,
you know, there's
There's
ways
there's the
to,
part.
there's
Yeah,
ways to get
the
like
other one.
those core cars
There's the part.
to mill it, we're gonna.
Section only.
Ooh.
Well, we're gonna put, I mean, my thought is we're gonna
Check
put
your-
the military
your
cars
permit.
in front of the car wash on Genesee Street facing this way. And then we'll just have them pull out and do their thing. I
Yeah.
don't know, we'll
We
figure
have
it out,
to
but you
coordinate.
don't have to.
Yeah, one of the things that makes me think this is gonna be a tad easier is because of how when they rented out the park behind Freedom of Espresso and how such a small portion that's being used, there's actually more room that's gonna be there than I had anticipated when this first started, so
Yeah.
I think we might be in pretty good position with what's going on and moving
The
modern.
most part I think we're fine is just that there are the pieces that would have used limestone.
Right.
We've got to figure out where else. They can put.
Gonna have to do a little bit of displacing.
Andy's discouraged. We will
Right.
make sure that we're.
Our current letter says discouraged, so maybe a little bit more than that, some
Okay.
kind of box or something. And I think our political candidates, sometimes those, they don't necessarily get the message, if I remember
I
correctly.
remember some of them Sturfield.
They don't get the message or they don't-
Problem.
or they
I'll speak,
choose
yeah.
Okay, good.
And I'll speak to his wife.
Yeah,
Some
contact.
people choose to.
Ignore.
Well, like I say, we're not gonna make a big deal or like yell at them or something like that, but if they do it this year, we'll have to pay attention. And if they do it this year, we'll have to discourage them a little stronger next year. That's all.
I think we did.
I think as people try to,
It's
as-
not.
as
we
people-
have
I mean,
no
we've already
Right.
access, we have no-
submitted, sent things out, so we'll just have to follow up with. those
yeah,
reminders.
no, I'm all good. Okay. We'll deal with what we have to deal with, but we're making an effort and we're going with the direction of what the majority wants to do, so. That'll do me. Motion to adjourn,
So moved.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
We did get some discussion.
Here, there's you.
Oh, no.
The screen in front of trustees.
Let's hope that we have to make an effort.
I didn't change that.